Hey guys, GHAZZY TV here with another Path of Exile League start suggestion for 3.15 Expedition League. This time we're going to talk about the SRS build guide. Now, for those of you who were expecting a SRS popcorn build, that's not going to happen. That was also very hard hit by the minion damage reduction of HP. Instead, I will show you the beauty of how an SRS build can work when you're actually scaling the hit damage from an SRS build. The high budget version of this build reaches about 20 million shaper DPS, and it's not really that expensive. The low budget build using a generic +3 level of fire skill staff with benchcraft and minion damage kicks off about 5 million shaper DPS in pretty bad gear. Gear that you can achieve in the first 24 hours of a league. So that's pretty goddamn solid. It is, however, not the tankiest build. Your minions are not aggroing, so that it's a pretty high risk that you are taking damage. We are sorting this through the hybrid approach of Eldritch Battery. But other than that, it is a very fun build to play. It works very effectively when it comes to endgame play. The build you see here in the gameplay footage is the high budget version, using a couple of Woke gems. The Woke Multi-Strike is not that big of a difference compared to the non-Woked one, which is probably the most expensive item in this build that you're watching right now, but the damage is definitely there. So with that said, I want to talk about the small differences between the builds and the build guide, and we're not able to push out 60 million shaper DPS anymore with it, but it's doing very well. So basically the build changes that we've done is a minor change on the tree on the high budget over here by cutting these points off as we're traveling through here for another cluster. The cluster jewel used in the low budget build guide is simply a call to slaughter, which requires a very low item level. So finding a minion cluster jewel with a high amount of passives that you can roll a call to slaughter on is very cheap early on in a league, allowing you to get something like this for extra damage approach. We're using glancing blows, some extra block chance whilst we're using a staff, which looks like this. Generic +3 level of fire skills, which you can alteration craft yourself and then just bench craft the minion damage on it. Other than that, this build is showing Triad Grip, which you can get for about 20 to 30 chaos. Tabula Rasa, generic HP movement speed, HP across the board with some stats when you need it, because you need to get your dexterity and strength sorted, of course. Darkness Enthroned, and there's an Enemy Guardian buff flask approach. If you take that away, we'll lose about 300,000 shaper DPS, which is not that much when we're doing 5 million. So the big thing with this build that I've noticed was actually, again, similar to many of the other builds that we've been updating, is the mana cost. We are using Unleash in the setup for SRS, but we're paying a mana cost of 77 thanks to Spec and Righteous Decree, which was not in the build before. So with that stated, what's going to happen is that with the reservation of mana, we only have 172 mana unreserved. So what can happen with this build is that you have to be a little bit careful that if you feel that your mana is empty all the time and you don't really get to the point where you're having 20 minions, I would recommend looking into an Enduring Mana Flask. But based on the changes, where all the theoretical information of what I've been looking at, that should not be a problem at all to tackle. So that means that this build is, with its niche playstyle included, a very solid league starter for 3.15 Expedition. Hope you guys will enjoy the build guide. There's going to be a link in the description to it. Let me know in the comments below if this is the build that you plan on playing. I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts on it. And make sure you hit the like button, subscribe for more content. Until next time, stay safe and keep rocking.